Good evening and welcome to the February 21st, 2024 meeting of the Roseville City Council. Call the meeting to order and I ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Thank you. We'll start our roll call with Vice Mayor Bernasconi. Here. Councilmember Albert. Here. Councilmember Mendoza.
Here.
Councilmember Rakucci.
Here.
And Mayor Haldeshelt.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask Bella and her classmates from Wood Creek High School to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everyone, please stand and join us. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nicely done. I'm going to ask the clerk to read the meeting procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Roseville regular City Council meetings. Agendas are available at the end of the staff table to your right or online on the city's website. All comments from the public should be directed to the City Council and not to any staff members or the audience. All speakers must speak from the podium as this meeting is being recorded. For comments on non-agenda items, members of the public may address the City Council regarding any item that is not listed on tonight's agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Public comments on non-agenda items will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The collective initial period for public comments is limited to 25 minutes. Any speaker that did not have the opportunity to address the City Council in the first session will have an opportunity at the end of the council meeting just before council comments to make their comments heard. The Brown Act does prohibit our City Council from taking action, debating, or discussing items not listed on the agenda. For comments on items appearing on the agenda, those that are listed, speakers will have 5 minutes to provide input that should be relevant to the item that is appearing on the agenda. Time will be monitored, and once the red light begins to blink at the podium, we request that the speaker please conclude their comments. The City Council does hereby want to acknowledge SB 1439, the Levine Act, which requires the City Council members to publicly disclose whether any campaign contributions have been received totaling more than $250 in the previous 12 months from a party, agent, or a participant to a proceeding before the City Council that involves any action or consideration related to a contract, license, permit, or other entitlements for use. Pursuant to the Levine Act, there is no disclosure obligations that have been identified by our City Council members for items that are being considered on tonight's agenda. With that, we'd like to lastly ask you, if you do address our City Council tonight, consider stating your name for the record. And we thank you in advance for your participation and civic engagement in the City of Roseville. Welcome.
Thank you. Not surprising, there are no contributions because City of Roseville's campaign season starts in February of an election year, so there wouldn't be anything that happened before 2024, so I imagine there'll be a lot of no disclosures for quite a while. Anyway, we'll come to the portion of our agenda in which we have public comment on non-agenda items, and if anybody would like to make comments, public comments on a non-agenda item, please go to the podium. Seeing none, all right. Now I'll ask the clerk to announce the procedures for approving the consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All matters on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be approved by one motion of the City Council. There will be no discussion on consent calendar items unless a member of the City Council, staff, or a member of the public requests that a specific item be pulled for further discussion. At this time, neither council or staff has made such a request. Is there any member of the public that would like to pull an item for further discussion tonight? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Mayor, tonight the City Council will consider consent calendar items 6.1 through 6.25. If I may have the motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor with a second. We'll start a roll call with Vice Mayor Bernasconi.
Yes.
Councilmember Albert.
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilmember Rakucci.
Yes.
And Mayor Haldeshelt.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion
Next
passes.
move to our ordinances, and the first item is item 7.1, Crimson Ridge Park upgrades, project approval of plans, specifications, authorization for staff to pull bids, and a budget adjustment. And we have with us our Parks Recreation Library Director, Jill Geller, and our project manager, Tara G.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening. Good evening, council members. I am Jill Geller, your Parks, Recreation, and Libraries Director, along with Tara G., your Park Planning and Development Manager. And we are here tonight to share some information about Crimson Ridge Park and some proposed improvements. So I'll turn it over to Tara.
Thanks, Jill. Good evening. This item requests approval of plans and specifications for the Crimson Ridge Park upgrades, as well as approval of a budget adjustment and council's authorization to bid the project. For background, Crimson Ridge is a 2.3-acre park site located on Campus Oaks area. The park opened to the public in April 2023. It was constructed as a turnkey or developer-built project. Budget constraints resulted in the reduction of planned improvements, and once opened, residents approached the city seeking improvements that were more in line with the approved master plan. Since then, staff met and communicated with the residents regularly, and on October 17th, 2023, staff met with neighbors to share proposed improvements and next steps. Residents were supportive and appreciative of the proposed improvements, along with the city's efforts to address their requests. So as you can see, this is a linear park that runs between two one-way residential roads on Campus Parkway. North is to the left for your orientation. The top graphic depicts the north end of the park, while the bottom graphic depicts the south end. Added amenities will include new turf areas shown in light green, a shaded, a shade structure over the current picnic area circled in yellow, more pathways with a second picnic area with tables that's circled in blue. Excuse me, somehow my voice is going. And then planting areas shown in dark green. This also includes the expansion of an irrigation system to support the added turf. The estimate for construction of these improvements is $450,000, including soft costs. Funding for the proposed improvements are from the fiscal year 2022-23 general fund year-end budget surplus. These improvements will also require a small increase in annual maintenance costs, which will be funded through the Campus Oaks Community Facilities District for service. There's no general fund impact for the increase in maintenance. So tonight, we are seeking again approval of the plans and specifications, authorization for staff to seek bids, and approval of the budget adjustment of $450,000 from the fiscal year 2023 year-end budget surplus. If approved tonight, we'll return to council on May 1st for hopefully a bid award. So this concludes my presentation. I stand ready to answer any questions you may have.
The council have any questions of staff? All right, I'll open it up for public comment. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Any additional questions or comments?
One thing real quickly, just for our students, because we have a lot of them here. This is a park that is by the new Nugget. I'll just do a Cliff Notes version, but I know kids don't even know what Cliff Notes is anymore. So just because this is why you should care, is that this is a park that's by the Nugget, and a real long story short is the park did not have all of the amenities that the neighbors and that new neighborhood thought that there would be. So that neighborhood came and spoke with the city, and after a lot of negotiations, it's on the agenda to put in the amenities that they thought should be there and should be there. So this is why you can have an impact in your neighborhood and where you live, and this is right by, not far away from your school. Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you for doing that. Councilman Hubbard, did you have a question or a comment?
Along those lines, and I know the mayor was approached, I was approached, I'm sure the other council members were approached. This park was predominantly bark. A bark park is what they got the nickname of. And I think this was just a really good decision to go back and get it redone correctly. That was not the original intent, was for it to be all bark, but I'm really glad that we're doing this. I think this is great for the neighborhood. I know they're going to be really excited because it was pretty disappointing what we ended up with there. So I'm very supportive of this.
Any other?
I drove down that area, saw it before, and I was interested
after we had people from their neighborhood that came to our council meeting and voiced their concerns. And it's really nice to see where the city of Roseville could work with the neighbors and come up with a plan that was cost-effective and really nice and useful for the neighbors. And we're pleased with this idea of this that you planned. So I'm glad it's working well and looking for you to come back with starting a project.
Member Mendoza?
No questions, thank you.
I do want to expand on the Vice Mayor's comments. So, we receive during the course of, we're the connection between the city and its government in a lot of ways. So we will receive emails or phone calls from constituents that are concerned about things. We got one, I think we all got this, about Blue Oaks Boulevard and bike safety along Blue Oaks Boulevard. But we often get things, and part of our job is to make sure that we understand the most current information about that, and then, work with our staff to communicate back to the constituent, the person who raised it. So, as you said, your voice matters. We had a number of homeowners in there near the Nugget show up at one of our council meetings, and this is a result of that, which I think was about 6 months ago. So the process is not instant, but it is deliberative. So I'll ask the clerk to read the motion. Oh, wait, we don't have a motion.
Public comment.
Do we have a motion?
Can I ask one more comment? I know that we have we have many parks planned, but they don't always open in the way that they are approved. So what number, I think this is interesting for the students, what number about park will this be? And we've got to be in the mid-80s?
It's 84 or 85.
So 85 parks in our
Awesome.
city. Yeah. So, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good fact. Okay, now, a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I guess we
Hold
have to
on.
call
Quick
for it,
second.
sorry. There was a big pause
Thank you.
there.
On item 7.1, the City Council will consider adopting ordinance number 6780, authorizing certain amendments to the fiscal year 2023-24 budget, and declaring this ordinance to be immediately effective as an appropriation measure. With that, may I please have a motion to approve? Thank you. Can I have a second? Thank you.
Hold on.
And approve the plans and specifications, and authorize staff to call for bids.
Yes,
Why we
thank you.
always have an attorney.
One more time.
Yes.
So
may-
moved.
Thank you.
Second again.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor with a second. We'll start a roll call with Vice Mayor Bernasconi.
Yes.
Councilmember Elbert.
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilmember Rakucci.
Yes.
And Mayor Hildeshelf.
Thank you very much. All right, now, students, we're going to talk about the money. And we're always talking about the money. So next item up is our fiscal year 2023-24 first quarter report and our FY 24-25 budget development calendar, which you'll see runs year-round. And our Assistant City Manager, CFO, Dennis Kaufman.
Mayor, council members, Dennis Kaufman, and with me tonight making our presentation is Scott Pettengill, our Assistant Finance Director. Similar to last year, this first quarter report is focused solely on general fund revenues. Future quarterly reports will return to the focus being on revenues and expenditures of the general fund, as well as our enterprise funds and certain other funds. We're not aware of any notable expenditure budget issues at this point in the fiscal year, but we do want to keep you updated on the current status and the updated forecast of general fund revenues, particularly sales tax revenue, that we're actively monitoring and taking contingency plans to address. So with that, I'll ask Scott to go ahead and give our presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. I'm going to begin with an overview of our general fund revenues in total. So this first table is an overview of our general fund revenues by revenue type, which compares the amended budget to revenues collected through the first quarter. The amended general fund budget totals $207.7 million of revenues, and cumulative revenues collected through the first quarter total $15.4 million. The last two columns of this chart show the remaining balance of revenues to be collected compared to the budget and the percentage received to date, which is at 7% of estimates. This rate of collection of 7% versus the percentage of the year elapsed at 25% is expected and is in line with prior years. This is primarily due to the timing associated with receiving some of our major revenue sources, including sales tax, which only represents 1 month of revenues due to state processing times, and property tax, which is received from the county in the third and fourth quarters of the fiscal year. Overall, we are forecasting that the general fund revenues may end with a slightly under budget due to a mild decline in sales tax revenues. We experienced significant slowing of sales tax revenues last fiscal year, and this year Bradley Burns sales tax revenues projected to end the year lower than last year by a few percent. We have plans in place to address this potential shortfall, and I'll touch on these in a few moments. Focusing in on sales tax, our latest consultants' report indicate that sales tax is declining compared to the unprecedented growth we experienced coming out of the pandemic. Our consultants' most likely forecast is that we may end the year $3.7 million below estimates in Bradley Burns sales tax and $763,000 short in Measure B sales tax. The primary cause of these shortfalls is attributed to the impacts of high inflation and interest rates, as well as shift in consumer spending away from taxable goods to services such as travel, which were constrained during the pandemic. I did want to note here that we're not alone in realizing these declining sales tax growth. Other agencies are experiencing similar changes, and this slowdown is being echoed by economists as well. This graph provided by our sales tax consultant shows the annualized percent change in sales tax growth from the fourth quarter of 2020 to the third quarter of 2023. You can see that Roseville, indicated by the blue line, as well as Placer County and statewide, are experiencing similar declining sales tax growth as compared to the unprecedented growth we saw in 21 and 22, which reached in the 20% range. Digging a little further into the forecast numbers for sales tax, on the top portion of this slide, highlighted in gray, we have provided our sales tax consultant's latest year-end forecast for both Bradley Burns and Measure B. The consultant's estimate ranged from $95.4 million to $100.5 million, with their most likely forecast of just about $98 million. Drawing your attention to the bottom portion of the slide, using the consultant's most likely forecast, we will end the year with a $4.5 million shortfall, which I've indicated with that red arrow. Using a more optimistic assumption, we would still realize a shortfall of $2 million, and using a more conservative forecast, the shortfall will increase to about $7 million. Before moving on to property tax and some better news, I did want to note here that you'll notice that both Bradley Burns and Measure B have different sales tax bases, and that is why the actual revenues received don't change in the same proportion. Property tax, the general fund's second largest revenue source, based on the latest information provided to us by the county, indicates that it will exceed estimates by $1.2 million at $71.5 million compared to our initial estimate of $70.3 million. We are attributing this good news to the continued pace of development and increasing property values. As mentioned earlier, the reason why no actuals are reported in this graph is because we receive our property tax revenues in the third and fourth quarters of the year. Regarding hotel tax, or TOT, this revenue stream is expected to end the year on budget at $7.3 million. And moving on to PRL and our development revenues. PRL revenues are seasonal due to the timing of their programming. As of the first quarter, PRL revenues are at 29% of budget, or $1.4 million, compared to the estimate of $4.7 million. We are anticipating that PRL revenues will end the year on target at $4.7 million. Development revenues, which include things like building, plan check, and engineering inspections, have trended above estimates through the first quarter due to the city's sustained development, with building permits and plan check fees at 28% and engineering inspection fees at 33% of budget. These revenues have remained strong through the second quarter, but we anticipate a slowdown in development activity in the last half of this year. Engineering inspection fees are at 22% of estimates as of the second quarter, but there was a high rate of collection in the second quarter. And overall, we expect development revenues to end the year in line with a forecasted budget of $5.8 million in total. And lastly, the other revenue category. This includes state and development reimbursements, business license taxes, Passport processing and franchise fees was at 17% of budget as of the first quarter. This is in line with our projections, and we don't anticipate any significant variances in this category, so we should end the year on budget at $15.4 million. So to address the forecasted shortfall in sales tax, staff is closely monitoring our general fund revenues, and we'll be providing another update with the second quarter report to the City Council on our April 3rd council meeting. Revenues in other categories such as property tax may offset all or a portion of the shortfall. Also, we are anticipating some expenditure budget savings being available at year end, which might offset the remaining balance. And also, we're putting into place some precautionary measures, and these include delaying the transfer of $4.6 million additional discretionary payment to CalPERS until later in the fiscal year. We have a better sense of where sales tax will end the year, and we plan to hold a portion of our one-time fiscal year 23 general fund surplus in the event sales tax revenues continue to decline. So that concludes my general fund revenues update for the first quarter, and I'll hand off to Dennis.
Thanks, Scott. Before I go over the budget calendar for next fiscal year, I just wanted to add that our sales tax consultants, as well as economists that we follow, continue to forecast the soft landing that we read about in the news. The current expectation from our sales tax consultant is that sales tax revenues will begin to grow again next fiscal year, albeit at a slower pace than we experienced coming out of the pandemic over the last few years. We will continue to closely monitor the information that we receive monthly from the state, and we'll provide regular updates to the City Council as the budget for next year is developed. I have a slide with our budget calendar. There we go. So as you know, staff has been working on developing next year's budget for a few months now. The next fiscal year starts on July 1st. The next major milestone in this process is the City Council Strategic Plan Priorities Workshop next week. Following that, during the month of March, our departments will be working with our budget team to finalize their proposed budgets. Then during the first week of April, each department will present their proposed budget to the city manager for review. And then at the City Council meeting in April, finance staff will present updates to the city's financial policies to the City Council and updated information on the city's pension and retiree medical liabilities. And then on May 1st, the City Council will receive the annual report presentation from the Measure B Local Citizens Sales Tax Oversight Committee, as well as presentations on the proposed capital improvement program budget and the Roseville Electric and Environmental Utilities Department budgets. And then on May 17th, the proposed budget will be delivered to the City Council and released for public engagement. The council will conduct its budget workshop on May 28th, and staff will recommend adoption of the budget for next fiscal year at the June 19th City Council meeting. So that concludes our presentation on the budget update for the current year and the planning for next year's budget, and we're available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions from the council?
I just make a comment. Thank you for, the update. I really appreciate it. I just wanted, just like Krista did, tell our students, what you saw here is our budget never stops. When we finish one budget, then we start another one. So there's always presentations like we have here of where we're going. And if there's times that if there may be a shortfall in money coming in or money or positive coming in, we're always aware of the world around us that makes an impact on our budget. So what you see here is it's just not a one-time event. It's a budget in living action and never stops. And we appreciate what you do. Keep us updated and help us keep our city going.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, I'll open it for public comment. Extra credit for high school students who have a question or a comment? Okay. Close public comment and inquire if the council has any additional comments or questions.
Not for me.
I will say, just, and I love what Vice Mayor Bernasconi and we've all been doing. So think of the general fund like that checking account you have. And then think of these other funds like that college fund or that special account where you're going to buy something special. So it's over here in your savings. So those terms, right? Is that kind of like?
I was thinking
You
that
got
this
better?
is just all of our income. This is all the income that
Yeah.
the city gets. We didn't cover expenses tonight, but I think it just demonstrates that all of our priorities are to be as fiscally conservative as possible, and that our city is in good shape. So that's how I would summarize it. Thank you, guys.
General fund can be on police and fire and parks and rec and other things, and then we have dedicated funds, so just a little explanation of that. If, this was information only, wasn't it? No action required. Like it, all right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Next, we'll move to resolutions 9.1, American River Bike Patrol Memorandum of Understanding. And we have our Public Works Director, Jason Tchaikovsky, and Assistant Transportation Planner, Suzanne Ingelkey.
Mookie.
Ingelkey, all right.
Put a Y on the end and you would have had it.
Take your presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Hal DeShelton, members of the council. My name is Jason Tchaikovsky, and I am your Public Works Director. I'm excited to bring before you tonight a request to approve an agreement between the City of Roseville and the American River Bike Patrol to provide volunteers to help us monitor our paved trails and assist trail users. With me tonight is Suzanne Ingelkey, Assistant Transportation Planner with our Alternative Transportation Division, to provide you with more details. And members of the American River Bike Patrol are also in the audience in support of this important new partnership. Suzanne?
Thank you. The city currently has a Bike Walk Ambassador program. The small group of volunteers brings safety awareness and trail etiquette to the community while they walk and bike on our city trails. They also promote the benefits of biking and walking at community events, and they participate with our Safe Routes to School program. There are nearly 50 trails in the city of Roseville, and this small group can't cover them all. That's why we were thrilled when the American River Bike Patrol came to us to offer its assistance and to join in our ambassador program. The American River Bike Patrol, or ARBP, serves as trail ambassadors, providing directional, mechanical, and most importantly, medical services for all trail users. The American River Bike Patrol's main purpose is to provide public service. Trail ambassadors do this by being friendly faces on the trails who are easily approachable to ask for help, and their bright red jersey makes them very easy to spot. They offer help with directions in case you are lost. They help you with simple bike repairs like fixing a flat tire or squeaky brakes. And they can assist with emergency care more than just offering a bandage. They serve as additional eyes and ears for our law enforcement and emergency medical services, and they can relay feedback and knowledge that they gain on the trail to city staff. ARBP makes sure they have qualified individuals riding the trails. Candidates are vetted through personal interviews, one-on-one training rides, background checks, and extensive trainings. All ARBP bike controllers undergo rigorous and ongoing trainings in first aid, CPR, bike repair, and trail etiquette. Candidates must commit to at least 20 hours of annual trail service, or 10 hours if they're also serving as a member of the National Ski Patrol or unit. Once on board as a patroller, they must learn the areas they are riding, continue training, and stay up to date on certifications during their tenure. Tim Viles, shown on the top left, and Jim Margolis on the top right, had the idea of a bicycle safety patrol from attending 2019 meetings of the American River Coalition. The two National Ski Patrol veterans took the idea to the Sacramento County Parks in late 2019. By February 2020, they had an operating agreement in place, and it was approved by the Sacramento Parks Department and county supervisors. They began patrolling the American River Bike Trail in June of 2020. They added Folsom Lake State Recreational Area trails to their territory later that year, and began serving the El Dorado County trails last year. With the approval of the MOU with the City of Roseville, the American River Bike Patrol is ready to add Roseville's Miners Ravine Trail and Pleasant Grove Creek Trail to its patrolling schedule. The Bike Patrol is made up of dedicated volunteers. Candidate patrollers are recruited throughout the year. Some of the trainings they need take outdoor first aid and outdoor emergency first aid courses, CPR through the American Heart Association and the American Red Cross. They need to be trained in trail readiness, which includes trail use, rules and regulations, ranger and emergency medical service interactions, bike mechanics, and other online courses and check-off rides. Currently, today's ARBP consists of 108 trained patrollers. Their numbers are quite impressive. Since their operation began in 2020, there have been 5,902 patrol groups on duty. Those patrollers have logged 169 miles. That's 4.3 times around the earth. During those patrols, they had 12,192 advisory and directional assist. They repaired 763 bikes. And most importantly, they have provided emergency first aid to nearly 1,300 cyclists, pedestrians, and equestrians, including 2 life-saving events. In anticipation of serving the area, the ARBP has been learning Roseville's trail system by riding Miners Ravine and Pleasant Grove Creek trails. These are the 2 longest continuous trails in Roseville. Some of the 85 assists in Roseville included providing directions, sharing trail etiquette, doing welfare checks, and stopping to answer the question, "Who are you?" The 9 repairs have been fixing bike chains, derailleurs, brakes, and even removing a small rock from a bike's gears. Community members have remarked how very friendly and well identified the group is, and seeing them on the trail gives them an increased sense of safety. The American River Bike Patrol has chosen to cover the 2 populous trails in Roseville. They will serve Miners Ravine Trail from Sierra College Boulevard to Saugstad Park, just past Douglas. And they will patrol the Pleasant Grove Creek Trail from Foothills Boulevard to Meadow Miss Court in far west Roseville.
Thank you, Suzanne. So in summary, staff recommends that the City Council adopt a resolution to approve a memorandum of understanding between the City of Roseville and the American River Bike Patrol and authorize the city manager to execute it. Suzanne, members of the Bike Patrol, and myself are available to answer any questions.
Yeah, before I open it up for public comment, I'll inquire if the council has any questions. Councilman Albert?
I had a couple questions regarding those of us that are out on the trails occasionally see motorcycles and kids without helmets and some illegal stuff happening out there. When they come across this, what is their standard protocol? Are they calling 911, or how are they helping us patrol in that way as far as public safety goes?
So the American River Bike Patrol has been working with myself on some of the rules that the City of Roseville has as far as trail etiquette, and they have been told to call the non-emergency police number on some of those events that you just described.
All right.
Any other questions? No. And maybe this will come up in public comment, but how many of the folks from the American River, which I think of as Sacramento, are from Roseville? We'll do that under
answer
public
to that.
comment. Okay. The other question I had is, how many trail ambassadors and bike ambassadors do we have currently?
I said we had a small amount. We have 5.
How do I sign up?
I'll talk to you afterwards.
Very good, because I need to learn, yeah, okay. All right, I'll open it for public comment. Sir, if you get,
For the record, my name is James Chang, and I'm the director of the ARBP.
you want to explain all of these buttons and medals?
Certainly, I'd be very proud to do so. I've been with the National Ski Patrol for over 50 years. In that period of time, I've gotten the Distinguished Service Award. I have 5 Gold Merit Stars for outstanding leadership, the Green Stars for a search and rescue operation that I headed up, pulled a pilot out of a crashed plane just north of Diamond Peak Ski Resort, where I serve as a ski patroller. These are my years of service, 50 years, my national appointment, which is the highest honor the National Ski Patrol bestows upon a patroller. My outdoor emergency care instructor certification pin, and my outstanding patrol awards, one for the American River Bike Patrol, one for the American River Unit, one for Diamond Peak, or 2 for Diamond Peak Ski Patrol, 2013 and 2020. So I'm very proud of my achievements, and I wear this with great pride. And whenever I represent the National Ski Patrol or the American River Bike Patrol, it's an honor to do so. In response to that question about reporting high-speed vehicles or illegal vehicles such as motorcycles, we have that as a constant along the American River Bike Trail and in the El Dorado Trail, and I'm sure we're going to see that here. What we do is we have our patrollers carry on their cell phones that predetermined call number, a list of calls, and we just simply pull that out and call, for example, the park rangers that are in jurisdiction. So we're in the state park area. We call the Folsom Lake State Park Rangers. When we're in Sacramento area, we call those appropriate state park officials there. We are not law enforcement. I want to emphasize that. We are only added eyes and ears for the community, and we act accordingly. We don't confront individuals for obvious reasons, right? I hope that answered that question.
Are any of your folks Roseville residents?
Oh, yes. We have 10 already assigned to the future development of our team. What we do is we actually have 72 to 73 miles of coverage going from downtown Sacramento, the confluence there, all the way up to Beals Point, and then from Folsom all the way out to Camino. So in addition to putting those all together, it's about 72, 73 miles. What we've done is we've broken it into approximately 4 different segments. So we have right now 3 area coordinators under which there are 10 specific teams. So then we have associated 3 team members per area coordinator. So then the sectors are west, east, and in foothills at this point. And with the approval of this memo, we will be developing a 4th sector with Team 10 at this moment. Jeff Kamach is our interim coordinator and team leader. If I may, could I have my team step up and introduce themselves? Would you guys come to the podium and introduce yourselves?
Afterwards, we'll take a picture, Bruce. How about that?
Yeah, we'd love to have a picture.
Jeff, go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Gamache. I live here in Roseville.
My name's Rick Bollinger. I'm one of the team leaders, section leaders, I'm sorry.
I'm Greg Cordier, team leader of Team 1.
Ted Penman, Joseph Patroller.
I'm Ava Harriman. I'm just a regular patroller.
I'm Nadia Johnson, and I'm also just a patroller.
Hello, I'm Vic Massenkoff. I just joined the patrol last year, so I'm a fairly new patroller, and I live up in Penman.
Nice, thank you.
And I'm Bob Odkin. I'm a patroller as well, but I do own a home in Roseville.
Hey.
Standing behind the camera, Wayne.
So I'm Wayne McIntyre. I'm fairly new to the patrol, but I've been their volunteer photographer.
As you can tell, we have a very humble group. This gentleman here is the most outstanding bike patroller in the Far West Division, or was it national? It was actually a national award.
Told you not to say that ever again.
All right.
This is an award-winning patrol. For 2 consecutive years, we were both the outstanding patrol nationally, and then in the Far West Division, the most outstanding patrol unit. We received gold meritorious commendation, a gold unit citation, excuse me, a silver unit citation, and then in 2022, we received the California Assembly Commendation and Proclamation, number 1505. And then in 2023, we received the Sacramento Board's Commendation and Proclamation. So these are the folks that they say they're just simply patrollers. They're really the most outstanding patrol in the nation. We compete against 200 other bicycle patrols that are out there. There are 650 registered ski patrols. There are 31,000 National Ski Patrol members. So when these folks say they're just regular patrollers, they're actually the most outstanding patrollers in the nation standing before you. So I salute you.
Before I close public comment, I want to see if anyone else wants to make public comment.
Thank you, Council. John Freitas, Roseville resident. Just want to acknowledge the obvious here that this is going to be significant attribute to Roseville. I think they represent themselves just outstanding with uniforms and with distinguishment of being helpful for the community. It will set us apart. I do see opportunity, and I don't know how it would be viewed, but, and I had shared this with the gentleman, Mr. Shing, could the trails identify inconspicuous signage? So if there is a need to reach out from a bike flat or a crash, how they could reach out to the patrol. Having the signage of a number, maybe that could be, I know it's, you're trying to not impact the natural trees and grasses with signage, but I think a sign could be helpful. I also thought maybe some kind of marker identification. I'm on the blue trail at marker 25, so when the call goes in, there can be an acknowledgement of where they're located. Myself on these long trails, sometimes I'm just enjoying the area and I have no idea where I'm going. And then if something happened unfortunate, I guess I could always call law enforcement, but if bike patrol's on scene, hey. Also, they didn't say it or anybody said that they do provide hydration. When the summer comes along and it gets hot, they offer the hydration. That took me to then the next thought. When you're incorporating hydration and you're out on these trails, if you have to use the restroom, I don't know. For number one, you might find a tree, but for number two, I don't know how you would introduce a porta potties and how that would be entertained, but I don't know. Whatever it is. Thank you for your time, and I'm glad to be a Roseville resident.
Thanks for your comment. Anyone else? Any mountain bikers in the audience? Oh, well,
Oh, yeah, Rich. Okay.
not a mountain biker?
Yes, sir. Mayor,
Wait.
council members, Rich Ricucci, resident of the city of Roseville for many years. I'd like to congratulate this team here that they have, and also speak out for some of the members that aren't riding anymore, like myself. walking the trails, because a lot of people are out there walking, and especially the motorcycles and some of the high-speed, bike riders, whatever, is a real hazard to navigate if you're just a walker. So I think it'll be really helpful for the walkers, and I think there's a lot of walkers, not just bicycles riders. So I want to thank them for making the presentation and for being a part of our community, and I support them 100%, and hopefully council approves their memorandum of understanding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Any other public comment? We'll close public comment. I'll inquire if the council has any other questions or comments.
Just one comment on the, Mr. Freitas's comment about the markers on the trail. I'm going to avoid the restroom thing, but that's interesting because I've been out and I don't know where I'm at sometimes without pulling up my cell phone and pulling up a map. Anyway, I know we're not deciding that tonight. I just thought I'd mention, I think that's kind of an interesting idea to kind of maybe identify here and there where you're at. So that's it. Thank you.
If you'd like me to respond, we're working actually on an active transportation plan right now, which we're looking at alternative modes of transportation, bicycle and ped predominantly. And part of that, we'll be looking at signage, wayfinding signage. We're talking about trail markers. Actually, restrooms is one of the things I want them to look at. Restrooms is a very complicated thing to do. If you don't have piping there, it's very expensive to put it in. Otherwise, you got to do porta potties, and you got to have it maintained, and sometimes they can get pretty messed up from people who don't care about public facilities. So those are things we are looking at with the active transportation plan, and we'll be bringing that back to council. How long do you think it'll take?
It's an 18-month process, and we're on month 3.
Okay, so it'll be a little while, but we are looking at it.
I hear June, right? Okay. Vice Mayor Bernasconi, do you have?
I just didn't want the moment to go without welcoming you all to Roseville, and we are so pleased to have you here. I look forward to seeing you on the trails, and Jeff and I used to work together, and I just want to thank you for reaching out several months ago, Jeff, to get this ball rolling, and thanking staff for making it happen, too. I look forward to seeing you out on the trails.
I think that they said it all when you're going to be the eyes and ears of the community. And you're out there, and you're going to be knowing those trails better than any of us. And if we get lost on them, you'll be able to find them. Just a safety. I just like looking out at you guys, and guys and girls. And the fact that you bring some CPR and some safety, and if needed, you have the skill to go to the next level. Just friendly face and can help people. And we appreciate you being here.
Councilmember Mendoza?
Thank you for being here. Thank you for representing Roseville and helping our trail users.
Okay. 2 questions. Suzanne, is this your first presentation for the City Council?
Yes.
Nicely done. Very nicely done. Thank you. Is this the first city in Placer County in which the American River Bike Patrol is operating in? Or are you operating in Rockland? Well, let staff answer. I mean, yes, okay. I see heads nodding yes, so, okay. I should have asked that. All right, if there's nothing else, then I think we're ready for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
City Clerk, read the motion.
Yes, thank you. On item 9.1, the City Council will consider adopting resolution number 24-034, approving a memorandum of understanding by and between the City of Roseville and the American River Bike Patrol, and authorizing the city manager to execute it on behalf of the City of Roseville. May I please have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor with a second. We'll start a roll call with Vice Mayor Bernasconi.
Yes.
Councilmember Elverd. Yes. Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilmember Rakucci.
Yes.
And Mayor Haldeshelt.
Yes. Stay around, we're going to want a picture, and we're going to put it in, because
So they can leave.
Yeah, do you want to take a real quick picture before they leave?
I think we're going to wrap up pretty quickly, aren't we?
Just don't go anywhere, you guys.
Don't go anywhere, all right? We'll sign your forms just like we signed the high school forms. Because I think what the outreach and education and awareness that will come with this, not only your bright red uniforms will encourage more people to use our trails, so. All right, we're at the point in the evening where we'll have a second round of public comments on non-agenda items.
Vote?
Oh, did we vote on the motion?
Did we?
I thought we voted.
Yes, 5-0.
Okay.
It felt like we voted.
Yes.
In our, yeah.
I said yes. Yeah, I motioned. Yeah, we motioned.
Councilmember Mendoza says yes to something. All right. We're at the second opportunity for public comment on non-agenda items. For extra credit with our high school students. Okay. City manager, anything else?
No further reports, Mayor, thank you.
All right, city attorney.
And for me, thank you.
All right. And now, us council members will start with Councilwoman Rakucci to report on any committee activities that you had.
And this is what we do, our students there, is we report on, not only do we come to council twice a month, but we have different committees that we're on. So, and I'm on a few that happened between this time and my last meeting, plus a couple other things. One of them is, they call it SPAWA, South Placer Water Agency, and this works on wastewater. And we had a meeting, and we talk about capacity fees, and what that means is how much of wastewater comes in from different cities and counties, and how it's getting charged. So we were talking about that. I also came to this, before I came to our meeting today, I was at Northern California Power Association, and we had a legislative and regulatory meeting, and I'm on the Leg Reg Commission. And so we did that on state and federal issues that affect electricity. And tomorrow I'll be back again with the NCPA for our regular meeting, and then I'm on the executive committee, so I'll have a meeting before the meeting on that. And just a couple of things that I found real interesting, and you might find it, I think all of you in the audience will. We're going to have a career fair at the Galleria, and this is on March 2nd from 10 o'clock to 2. And it just, because a lot of times you don't really know, how does a city run? You see council members, you see some police, and you see some fire, but there's so many other different fields and what people do. I always tell people, would you know that we actually hire microbiologists here for Roseville, and that's for in water treatment, to know how our water fares up, and are doing scientific studies, or are climbing poles during our wind and rain, and when you're helping save the community and keeping the lights on. So there's all kinds of things that you probably know, and things that you never knew, and you never know that it could, maybe you might be interested in a career in it, or just find out of, hey, that's what's really happening, and you might even have a friend who might be interested to know about it. And jobs are from high school level, some technical training, or a 2- and 4-year degree. So there's all kinds of opportunities for people, and I'm sure they probably have little goodies and food, and it'll be fun. So, but I think you'll learn something. I'm going to go just because I'd like to see all the other things too. And the last thing, this is Placer County, but I think it's really important. They had an open house for Placer County Health and Human Resources, and it's a building in Auburn, but it's a one-stop shop, and so a lot of there must be, I want to say 20, but many things that they do up there, from child welfare, mental health, substance abuse, and a lot of other different kinds of programs, but it's all in one building, so that you're not running around to different places trying to find something. And very modernistic, very friendly for people, friendly to find things out. You can call them, but you have, it just offers a lot of really nice services if you're in need of them for your community. But I wanted to let you guys know. And that's my story for now. That's it. Your turn.
That's it.
Yeah.
Member Mendoza.
The Placer County Local Agency Formation Commission, or LAFCO, did meet since our last council meeting. General business items were discussed. Nothing specific to Roseville was discussed, so no updates related to Roseville at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Great. Councilman Albert.
Yes. Several meetings since our last time. The Placer County Economic Development Board met in Roseville this time, and that board has a bunch of different industry seats. There's electeds from every jurisdiction in the whole county, plus major players in healthcare, education, manufacturing, agriculture. There's a couple other seats I'm forgetting. But it's a great opportunity for us to learn what's happening in each of these industries, for all the electeds to hear that, and then the elected share what's happening in their jurisdiction, so we get an idea of what kind of economic development's happening. And that's basically things that grow your economy, which funds all the quality of life services that we enjoy in our city. And Roseville's really good at economic development. I also serve on the Roseville EDAC, the Economic Development Advisory Committee, which is a Roseville-only version of that same kind of board where we have different industry seats. And we talk about economics in Roseville and how we can help further that. And we're working on site visits, visiting some of the top businesses in our community to make sure we help them with any issues they're having, just to try to make sure they're thriving, and if not, if there's something we can do to try to fix that. I also serve on 2 air pollution control district boards. I know I used to do a lot of traveling when I was younger, and I would go down to Glendale, and I would get off the airplane in Southern Cal, and I just felt grimy immediately. The air used to be so nasty down there, and it's really changed a lot, and it's because of a lot of state air pollution measures. And so I serve on the Placer County Air Pollution Control District, and then also the Sacramento Basin Air Quality Control District, some big old long name. And we monitor controlled burns, the rail yard, biomass plants that create electricity out of burning forest stuff. And just kind of keep an eye on that. And you have to have these groups set up to do the monitoring and even fining, or just trying to make sure the regulations are followed, so for our own air. And then also I wanted to invite our whole community. Next week we do have this council priorities workshop. We don't have enough room for the whole community, but it's interesting that hardly anybody else comes to these. And we always appreciate the public participating in it. We're going to be talking about our priorities as individual council members and trying to put together a plan, a unified plan for our staff, kind of marching orders for things for them to focus on. And we always do appreciate the public being part of that conversation. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Bernasconi.
I don't have much to add, and I know that you will probably say a few words about our GSEC Germany trip and what will come later. So in the interest of time, I will pass.
No, as the council members have indicated, we serve in other roles on behalf of the city. I sit on our Placer County Transportation Planning Agency. I'm our representative to the Sacramento Area Council of Government, which also has, which involves the 6 counties in the region and has representatives from the cities and the counties of the region sitting on that. I sit on the Transportation Committee there. We had a Board of Directors meeting last week. I also sit on the Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority. We meet 6 times a year. Today was our meeting at the Bay Area Rapid Transit Headquarters. You can actually take the train from just on the other side here in Old Town Roseville. Some of us have taken the train to the Taylor Swift concert. All right, I think she revealed herself right there. Our city attorney did that. So it's a great way to get, without having to traverse what I call the causeway between here and Davis, and get causewayed like I did this morning. And so thanks, Scott, for mentioning the upcoming strategic plan. We have 6 goals and priorities, and we'll be reviewing those and our progress on those, and revising those priority goals and priorities for the coming year. And as the Vice Mayor mentioned, we were part of a delegation for the Greater Sacramento Economic Council that went to Germany. We have a number of companies that have invested in our area. In Rockland, it's SMA Solar. Here in Roseville, it's Bosch. But we were there with GSEC board members and education leaders visiting those companies who invested in our area. And we'll have a full report at a future council meeting on that trip and what's come out of it. So with that, we're adjourned until February 28th when we have our... No?
Our regular meeting's March 6th.
Well, aren't we adjourned until our regular meeting on February 28th when we do our strategic planning goals and...
That's a special meeting.
Well, we're adjourned to our special meeting then, right? Right?
It's February 27th.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Pictures.
Pictures, signings, No extra credit because you didn't comment, so.
Did you say adjourned? Did you say adjourned? Adjourned? Are you adjourned? Are we adjourned? Yes, thank you.